Hey everyone. It is a late night for me, 11:27 p.m. Well, I guess it's not so late. It's just a regular night of me staying up. And what I want to talk about is this: the presidential election here in the US every 4 years or so. Not every 4 years or so. Every 4 years there's an election for the president of the United States. And this is how it's turning out. It appears that Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States. The states that he needs to win are well into most of their numbers being reported. So, pretty much Pennsylvania and Nevada are the two states that have most of the numbers reported. And Donald Trump has a significant enough of a lead that it would take fraud or something to make him not be the president. But regardless of who is the president, in some ways it doesn't matter who the president is. We are in control of our own lives. It's up to us to do what we can. But I will be honest and say that I voted for the first time in my life last week. I had never voted before. And I looked at the candidates and I said, I don't like either of these candidates. I don't believe either of these candidates are going to truly fix the country's problems. So I had to take a what's the lesser evil approach. And the lesser evil to me was Donald Trump. So I voted for him. And I hope that he can make a dent on the national debt for the US, which is spiraling out of control. If the debt keeps spiraling out of control, eventually the US won't be able to pay for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and the military. Those are kind of important programs. If you can imagine a future where the US's national debt is basically more than the tax revenue or income that it brings in, then the US will have no money for its social programs, and tens upon tens upon tens of millions of people will be without Social Security, which many people rely on that Social Security to live in retirement, and Medicare and Medicaid for their medical benefits into old age. It's not a pretty thing. Some people might think that money doesn't matter, but it actually very much matters. It very much matters. There will be an immense amount of death if the national debt is allowed to keep spiraling out of control. It's something that must be aggressively taken down. And when I looked at the two candidates of who was most likely to do it, Donald Trump, with Elon Musk's help in the he calls it the DOGE, Department of Government and Efficiency, of the Department of Government Efficiency, seemed like the best chance. I'm not convinced that the US is going to be able to get its debt under control. And to me, that's a big problem. It's something to keep an eye on. I'm very much going to be keeping an eye on it, because if the US defaults on its debt, it's game over for the US and the economy, and it's a lot of hard times, some seriously hard times ahead, as people won't be unable to pay their bills, buy food, and get medical care, especially those in older age who use Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. On the one hand, these programs are important for the aging population, but on the other hand, paying for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security robs younger people who are working, like me. I'm not seeing any of the Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security income right now, but I'm paying for it in my taxes, and I plan on using none of it when I retire. I do not have in my retirement calculations anything for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. They are completely out of my mind and not factored in. My retirement is completely in my hands to make happen without any government assistance. And hopefully I can get there with some Tesla stock, hopefully doing well, and my 401k, which is largely the S&P 500 index of stocks, a Vanguard fund, and some other small investments. If all of those do well and the country doesn't completely collapse, which it might in the next decade or two if the debt isn't wrangled in and under control, then none of it matters. None of my investments will really matter because there'll be bigger problems. There are other problems with the U.S., but I don't see them as important as the national debt because just the immense amount of people that will suffer and die if the U.S. defaults on its debt and can't make payments, and if the debt balloons to the point that social programs can no longer be funded. It's like, come on. It's like doing a budget where you have more income than expenses every month is a kind of a normal adult thing to do. And it's insane that the U.S. hasn't been able to do that. I think there needs to be a law passed, an unbreakable law that says the U.S. national debt can no longer increase, but must have a budget in place that is always decreasing the debt. And I don't see any other way. I'm not some master economist, but I know what would happen to me if I racked up a bunch of credit card debt and I couldn't pay anything and I had to declare bankruptcy. I'd be screwed economically for a while until I turn things around. So yeah, that was the biggest issue I saw. I'm just staying up late watching this map of these states, and I'll refresh it again. Look like it's about the same thing, pretty much. If you look at this, Pennsylvania is Donald Trump's ahead by about 200,000 votes. It's 93% done. And if you look at Nevada, which is 75% done, Donald Trump's ahead there. I mean, that could still go either way. But if you also look at Wisconsin, 88% reported, and Michigan, 64%. Donald Trump's got a pretty good lead there. The chance of Kamala Harris winning enough of these states and then you have Alaska, which has 3 electoral votes. The way the voting in the U.S. works is each state, the number of voters who end up being the greatest for the president gives you a number of electoral votes. And so this makes it so that each state has a voice, basically, and it was instituted a long time ago. So yeah, I don't see Kamala Harris winning, but even if she does, my path in the future is not going to change much, whether Trump or Harris is in the presidency. I casted my vote for the lesser evil, or what I thought was the best chance for the country to get its debt under control. And, there's other problems in the U.S. besides the national debt, but to me, that's the biggest one. But it's also the easiest to punt on because it's not a crisis right now. It's one of those things that will be a crisis in the future. So, yeah, the government needs to have enforced responsibility, in my opinion, which will be hard because people in government jobs or programs or things that are cut will need to be given a lot of severance for a long time so they can get back on their feet. I mean, what else do you do? You can't just keep racking up the debt, or you're going to really screw tens upon tens of millions of people. Anyways, that's my own thoughts about it. I could be totally wrong. Maybe there's a better solution that I haven't thought of. So, kind of a different video from me today. Just my thoughts on something that happens every 4 years here. And it's interesting to see it all unfold. We'll see how it is in the morning. Probably in the morning there'll be a winner announced. We'll see who it is. And I hope you all are doing well wherever you are. And it's 11:37 p.m. I'm going to try and sleep. But this is Jeremy J saying hello. Just thought I'd share this little video about the country I live in, the U.S. I still think it's a great country. It's a great place to live, even though it's screwed up. we're all screwed up. We're all broken. Our country's broken, but it's still a good country. I have the freedom to work and try new things, and I can share videos like this on YouTube, and I'm not being silenced by anyone. So that's good. Anyways, that's it. We'll see you in the next video. Namaste.